Hello, everyone. Welcome. Satar, that's your line. What's going on?
Hey everyone, welcome.
Hello.
Usually let's start with a joke, and tonight Leah Schubert
Satar, that's your line.
has the joke. Hey everyone, welcome. Usually let's start with a joke.
We're having the feedback again.
That's the joke. Hey everyone, welcome. Usually let's start with a joke.
Jesus, we're sorry. We're gonna fire someone. We don't know who it's gonna be.
It should be working.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to the show tonight. We are so happy to have you. And I'm Leah Schaefer, and this is the wonderful Dr. Asatar Bear. Yes. So tonight, the topic that we're going to be covering is freedom. Yeah. So it's going to be a great show. It's going to be very liberating. And so we like to start the show off with a joke. And the joke tonight is going to be quite cheesy. So this monk goes to a hot dog stand, and the hot dog stand owner's like, "What do you want?" And the monk's like, "Make me one with everything." Oh, just a nice
Classic.
unity consciousness joke for everyone.
Because what could be more? What could give you more of a sense of liberation and freedom than seeing things from every perspective at once,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So this topic is very, very close to my heart. It's, in fact, I would say my main purpose and mission in life is to help people become free from their own emotional suffering, or mental thought construct suffering. And so and it's the type of freedom that is not escapism. So it's very different than a lot of the ways that we might think about freedom when we think about freedom and meditation. I don't know if anybody thinks about those things. I do. But it really is very important to me because I work with a lot of people, and a lot of people really, really, really struggle, including myself, like with very difficult emotions. And it can become, especially when you start to create thoughts and a narrative around those emotions that perpetuates the pain. It can just be very, very, very painful, basically. And so what I really want and wish for everyone is the ability to have the power to navigate these emotions and find some freedom from them through integration, actually, and through deep healing. And so we're going to work on that a little bit tonight. Asatar, was there anything that you would like to add to the intro?
Yeah, I think we always think of, from the perspective of meditation, right? We're always trying to go deeper. We're always trying to go within, right? We're always trying to, what we see and experience in the outer world, it's always mediated, right? Like through the self, that's how we perceive things. That's how we know things. And like when we think about freedom, we often think about it like in a very negative way, like I want freedom from this,
Mm-hmm.
and, like to shift our perspective a little bit toward thinking about it on an inner level, like what is caging me within myself, right? I mean, this is first of all where we have the most leverage, and
Yeah.
what do we have? Which person in the world do we have the most control over, right? I mean, ourselves. And secondly, freedom is like a feeling, like, and with feeling,
Yeah.
it's always risky to like seek outside for that feeling, like, oh, if only this happens, then I'll feel this particular way. Ever been disappointed by that in the past? I mean, I have, right? Because That's not, that doesn't, it's kind of like this lie that we tell ourselves, right? That like feelings of whatever, energy or, it's going to come from the outer rather than from the inner. And so like, what might it mean to like rethink that, and to think about freedom as something that comes from within yourself, and what kinds of
Hmm.
experience might give you that sense,
Yeah,
that's kind of what I think of to introduce the topic.
absolutely. I like the way you framed it with like being caged within, like caged within ourselves, and it definitely is one of these things that you actually do have more control over when it is inside yourself, but it doesn't always feel that way, right? And so
Right.
Asatar and I are here to give you some tools that will help you, hopefully, we hope, help you navigate some of these experiences.
Absolutely set you free from your inner cage. I guarantee it. We're not supposed to be making these kinds of guarantees. Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble with me.
Otherwise, someone gets fired.
It's probably me.
Oh God, no, no, it can't be you. Uh, oh my gosh.
Do you know, before we get started, do you know the story of the Sufi story of the guy in the dungeon? You know that one, right?
No, no, I don't.
No? That's
No.
it's about this guy, and he's trapped in this dungeon, right? And it's dark and scary and cold, and he's alone. Um, and he's been down here for a long time, and he's even forgotten like what was life like before he lived in the dungeon. And
Mm,
terrifying. There's lots of noises that come in and all kinds of, confusion, and the darkness itself is scary. But one day the guy gets the courage to go to the opposite side of his cell. He knows there's bars there, but one day he checks the door, and it turns out it's not locked. So he opens it. Creak! Oh my God, this is a scary story here. And and he goes through, and then he discovers that the other cells are empty, and there's no one
wow.
around. There's no like guards or anything. And then he
Whoa.
discovers a staircase, and it leads up. And so he starts to climb the stairs, and it's terrifying. So it winds around. You can't tell how high, how far it is, anything, right?
Mm,
It's dark. He gets tired, stops for a while, and thinks maybe this is better where I was before. It's different at least, you know. And but then he goes on, and finally makes it to the very top, and opens the door that's there. And each thing is just, he's just sort of terrified, right? Because it's so new. And opens the door. And then there's this magnificent throne room. And it's
wow.
all empty, you know? And so he goes up to the throne, and sits down on it. And there's a crown there, right? So he puts that on.
Mm,
And,
mm,
like the splendor is within us, right? But we live in the
yeah.
dungeon, you know?
Yeah.
And
Big time.
so it's like, yeah, this metaphor for like exploring the inner world,
Yeah.
and what happens as you do that.
And isn't it true? It's like we're terrified to go into these other rooms of ourselves. We're so used to our personal construct. We're so used
Yeah,
to our identity, and that identity can be wrapped around negative self concepts. And it can be very scary just to explore, just to even leave the vicinity of that because it's the unknown, you know?
yeah,
But there's like Asatar is talking about, you know, Asatar and I have been exploring those prison walkways for a while, and we can tell you it's definitely worth it. So
the fear of
it's
it is
definitely worth
worse than the
it.
thing itself, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So thank you so much for the story, Asafar. So okay, so um, let's jump into a meditation because we've talked a lot. I have more to say. Gonna meditate. That's why we're here. So As you're ready, come into your posture. And as you close your eyes, I mean, even just that, for some people, that's a lot. So even just closing your eyes, you're cutting off one of your main sense gates. And when you do that, other things start to show themselves to you. You know, this is why meditation can be difficult, is because you start to feel more. You're sitting still, you are cutting off a lot of your normal sensations and inputs. And then other things that are going on start to reveal themselves to you. And that can be the scary part. That can be the part where we're figuring out that the door is open, right? And so that's why you have your breath, you know. So go ahead and start to deepen your breathing. Your breath is right there with you. You have full control over your breathing. And what I want you to do is to really optimize your breathing by using your whole diaphragm muscle. And those of us that don't know what that is, it's a muscle that goes along the whole perimeter of your rib cage, the bottom of your rib cage, and it looks a lot like an umbrella. And when you inhale, that umbrella starts to move and starts to flatten downward. And so what you want to do is let your belly open, let your abdomen open as you inhale. And really getting that sense that the whole diaphragm is starting to move. So not just the front part, but think of even your back ribs and your back body. And move those parts of your diaphragm too. Really try to feel with every breath you take more of that movement. And some of us, the inhalation is going to be easier than the exhalation, and vice versa. So, whichever one it is, just be kind and compassionate with yourself wherever you are, being kind and compassionate with yourself. And through this internal kindness, through this internal compassion, you're going to start to tell your body that it is safe. In this very moment, you are safe. And once your body realizes that it's safe, it's going to stop hindering your breath so much, so that you're going to have more access to your inhalation. And more ability to complete your exhalation. And the completion of your exhalation is especially prominent at the end of your exhalation when you think you've let all your breath out. I promise there's most likely going to be more. So you want to squeeze your abdomen in toward your spine and reach. Really reach. Trusting that a new breath is coming right in. And this is really important because just this exercise, even in and of itself, by moving your diaphragm, full, complete, deep breath, allowing your abdomen to expand as you inhale. And then at the end of your exhalation, giving everything you have, really getting all the air out. By doing this, you're actually calming your whole parasympathetic nervous system down. because your diaphragm moves along your vagus nerve and it activates it. And when your vagus nerve gets activated, it tells your whole body that everything is okay. So right away, even if this is all that you get, this is a tool for you to be able to shift your energies, even when there's a lot of tension. To be able to come and drop into your body more fully. So that whatever it is that you are working with, whatever it is you're facing, that you can do that from a place of greater freedom. You know, it's relaxation response. Your body's relaxed, and when your body's relaxed, you can respond more readily. You know, if you think about a boxer in a boxing ring, they're loose. They're about to punch and be punched, and they're loose. They're loosening their muscles, right? Because when you are loose, when you're relaxed, you can respond more aptly. But now I want to ask you to go even further. I want you to go down the hall and find that staircase. So let's go ahead and try to drop into the very center of our hearts, of our heart, your heart. So keep breathing deep, full breath, and I want you to focus on your heart. Try to feel your heartbeat as you breathe. It's okay if you cannot feel your heartbeat. I still want you to listen. And sometimes inside of that listening, you find emotion. I hope that you do. Hope you can feel the emotion of your heart. Can you? And sometimes it's more of an energetic signature, like knowing the feeling, the signature of the center of yourself. And listening for that. Try to focus all your attention onto your heart, onto this listening. What does it have to tell you? It's like what's inside of the rooms inside of your heart. Well, not so. It might be scary, but it might not be. And I want you to trust the center of your being. Trust the center of yourself. And just like those Russian dolls, we're going to go another layer deeper. So wherever you've reached so far in this focus, in this concentration, with full commitment to your longing for freedom, to your longing for liberation, I want you to go another layer deeper. Maybe you start to get underneath of your own skin, like a Russian doll. Just like the Russian dolls, there's one underneath the other, underneath the other, underneath the other. And it's the exact same thing with finding the center of your being. So, my dear one, focus and with full commitment to pursuing your longing for liberation. Go another layer in. Feel yourself get close to the fire, close to the flame. Close to this inexpressible sense of the center of yourself. As you inhale, it's almost like your inhalation is pulling from the very, very center, the very core. It's pulling that energy to the surface as you inhale. Pulling from the nuclei of your own heart, pulling from the very center of yourself, metaphoric nuclei. And then as you exhale from that same core of your being, exhale out in all directions. So that might look like or feel like in your body that it doesn't go very far, and that does not matter. It's okay. However far out it wants to go, that's okay. It'll expand with time. Stay deep inside. What is your suffering? What is your suffering, and how much do you want that to change? And with that longing, my dear one, with that longing, I want you to go another layer in. Find a deeper spot now. Pull on that deep part of the truest sense of yourself. With your inhalation, pull that energy from the center, bringing it more to the forefront. And then as you exhale, allowing that energy to start to expand out. Feel it expanding around your heart. Maybe even reaching your ribs. And coming right back to pulling on this inverted space, this core at the center of yourself. And with the exhalation, allow that center of yourself to spread out into your body. And with your next inhalation, I want to invite you to pull from this center of yourself has access. It's this inverted space that has access to all the energies of life. And I want you to pull from that space either love or light. You choose which one you want. Pull from the center of your being either love or light. Pull on it. And then exhaling that energy out into your body. Feel your breath moving energetically into your body from this center. You want to do this so much and with so many breaths, every breath more love or more light. You just keep pulling it from this infinite source at the core of your being. You're going to do that so much that that energy starts to fill you, starts to fill your heart, and starts to fill the parts of your heart that are in pain. When you start to fill the parts of your heart that are in darkness with light, or that are in pain with love, you take two polar opposite experiences and you draw them together, and that is one step toward a unity consciousness experience. So allow all the parts of yourself to just be completely flooded. regardless of whatever circumstances that you're facing, whatever challenges you're feeling, whatever you're going through. Allow this energy to fill your whole being from your own heart. Right. Then as you're ready, move your body and open up your eyes.
Another home run, Leah.
I've had a lot of practice with the pain. Oh, thank you.
It made me think about how I just on this theme of like about how freedom is like this energy, and there's so many ways we could experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you're into something, and when you really like if you're into language and you're into words and poetry, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you pay attention to words, right? You think about it. So it's like if you're into freedom, then you're like, oh, look, I see it here. I see it here
Yeah.
this way. Um,
Yeah.
and it just makes me think about it a little bit like in light of the Sufi teachings, right? Sufi teachings of Hazrat Inayat Khan, and he talks about the different layers of being, the different levels of being, right? Like we have a body, at the physical level, and we have a mind, um, that whole mental level, right? We have a heart, we have the center of our feelings, our emotions, um, and we have a soul, right? Where our qualities appear at the most abstract level, right? Like that is apart from time and space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what we
Mm-hmm.
feel in our hearts is usually like about something, like I feel longing for this person, let's say, right? Or I feel pain because of this thing that happened, or like it's right. What would it mean to think of ourselves at the level of like pure qualities? What are our pure
Yeah.
qualities? Um, and what one of the things that the Sufis have said for a long time, right, is they said that the soul is freedom itself, and the metaphor of like the body and even the mind and even the emotions as being a kind of cage that the soul
Mm-hmm.
lives in. Like you find this in a
Mm-hmm.
Sufi poetry, and like what induces the bird of the soul into the cage of you know
Right.
the body and the mind and the emotions, which is so bind us to like so many things, right? To
Yeah.
time and space, and things that are limited, things that will absolutely cause us pain. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
try longing for someone, right? There's pain in that, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and why? Why do we have this, right? What is this? What does this mean, right? That theme of the unlimited, the perfect, the eternal, right? This
Mm-hmm.
blueprint of our qualities, right, is eternal. It's unlimited. And how does that confront? How does that fit in that which is limited, right? I mean, it's like there's a tension there. There's always a tension. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think part of what we long for is to be able to bring that expression out. So like if the nature of the soul is freedom and happiness, then I think one of our main like longings is to be able to bring that which is at the very core of our being out and through, right? So
Yeah. Look, we have some nice comments here. Our, our friend Neil,
hi Neil,
nice to
thanks
see
for
you.
joining us.
And our friend Andre,
Oh, I
nice to
love
see you.
that you've come here. So good to have you from Australia.
And
Thank you.
we also have our friend Akbar Caduceus here. Perhaps buffering, I don't know. Maybe the signal's getting through. I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Oh,
Yeah.
look, we have a comment from Peace Labor May. Thank you.
Oh,
Wonderful.
thank
Thank
you. Thank you so much. Thank
you,
you.
you all.
We love it. We love your comments. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I think too about how to be, so like if we are to be like connoisseurs of freedom, like what are the different ways we experience that? And I start feeling it like in terms of the elements, because we've talked about these elements. We were talking about them. I don't know if it was
Mm.
last week. I forget now. But
Last
was
week. Yeah.
that last week? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it being amazing, of course. I just don't remember exactly what
Yeah.
it was. And so I think about like, if the earth element is that which is strong, that which is lasting, that which has a certain order, a certain boundariness, like what is the freedom within that, the freedom of feeling that strength, feeling like I'm like a stone, I can outlast this, whatever this is, I mean, like, you
Mm.
ever just
Mm.
the vibration of a stone is millions of years old, um,
Yeah. Endurance and patience.
yeah, there's like a freedom in that, that
Mm.
we experience that kind of, like freedom through that medium, or there's a freedom that comes out of the water element that says like, I can adapt to this. I can flow with it.
Mm.
I have the
I like
flexibility,
that.
the
Yeah.
pliability. Like, I'll go around it, like, I mean, that obstacles,
Yeah.
you know, because again,
Yeah.
it's energy, right? It's like what gives you that energy, you know? It's not about how exactly you're going to experience it. There's a lot of ways you can experience it,
Hmm.
or like a fire element, that that being inspired, being brave, being passionate, like maybe you have that regardless of the situation, right? And
Mm.
that's a that's a that's a freedom, right? Anything that's a
Yeah.
power brings with it some freedom, like so.
Yeah. Like comedians are great at that, right? Like,
Yeah, right. Very
yeah.
freeing to laugh.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
incredibly, like we let down our burden. And
Yeah.
I mean, I often think of like the air element as being really associated with that. Maybe
Right.
that's just because I have a lot of that within me too, and I like to
Mm.
go up to the high places, I like to fly in an airplane, I mean, I like to feel that
Mm.
space around me, and how it gives you that sense of vision, of clarity, the big picture. Like I find that liberating, that
Mhm.
what gives you that sense of possibility, or understanding. Sometimes when you understand things, even just that, right, that changes your experience of it, or a new understanding,
Big
like
time.
maybe,
Big time. Yeah.
you know,
Big time. Absolutely. Yeah. Getting that perspective.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
guess maybe I thought we'd do some meditation on that, on that
Yeah,
theme.
and
Uh, the, the,
before we jump in, just real quick before we jump into your meditation, Basatar, I just want to point out that from the reading that I've been doing on freedom is that it's really more the goal. Like, so it's not the path. Like, but the path to freedom is practice. Like, is self-devotion is self-discipline, like however you want to look at it. Some of us, self-discipline scares the crap out of us, so you can think of it as self-devotion. Love yourself. So like and whatever your practice might be, like there are a million ways to get there. So your practice, like you were talking about, like what if you're a linguist, like going into your poetry might be the thing that creates that experience for you, and it very much is a practice, right? And so you know, Asatar and I, we're very biased. We believe that meditation is, you know, one of the best practices. The most powerful practices, and it gives you
I would
that
love if you
space
didn't
and that
believe that.
repose.
You
But it's just one of them, and so like just know that whatever your practices are, that's really the pathway toward these experiences. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
meditation also is about adding, you know, it's not about like, oh, you shouldn't be doing other things, right? It's
not
about
at
how
all.
do you have that current of feeling, right? That build, you know,
Mm,
builds up the concentration, builds up that feeling of flow, and maybe even opens to the infinite in, you
yes,
know, and those are states, right? That's not attached to an activity.
yes,
That's, you know, those are states. We want to get good at those states, right? That's
yeah.
however, whatever
Yeah.
way we can enter into that is good.
Especially when we are like in the narrow narrative, where when our narrative starts to dominate us and take over our whole system, that's especially then it's like, okay, get on your mat or get your pen out, or you know, whatever it might, sit in your meditation chair, you know, whatever it might be. And so with all of that, Asatar will lead us in a practice.
All right. So, you know, you want to get your posture together, be upright. You guys can see I'm in a new room this evening. Um, I moved my desk and my computer, so I have to settle into this space.
Mm.
You know, you sit in such a way so that your spine can be upright, and yet you can feel relaxed. You can feel like you're being gently lifted from above, and at the same time, your weight is just resting comfortably on your sits bones, and your spine is upright so that you can be active, and you can have an active energy even while you remain still and breathe slowly and feel relaxed. All these things that are associated with rest, closing your eyes, being still, breathing deeply. But we don't want to go to sleep. We don't want rest exactly. We want to turn our energy within, to give us strength, to give us inspiration, to give us what we need to explore the inner world. So now breathe in and out through your mouth. And this is the air breath. And we'll start here. Those qualities of endless vastness. The air embraces all, surrounds all. High and low have no meaning to the air, right? Air goes everywhere. And how freeing is that? Now we still want to be doing our fundamentals of heart rhythm meditation. We want our breath to be deep and slow and rhythmic and heart centered. It's a tall order, but I want to be always working on just perfecting our breath, really getting into it, and just breathing all the way out, breathing all the way in, filling up the belly, then the ribs, and all the way up to the collarbone. Breathing much bigger and also much slower than we normally do. Feeling our heart beating, we can, harmonizing that with the rhythm of the breath. So perhaps you take 8 beats on the inhalation and 8 beats on the exhalation. You choose the rhythm that's right for you, but what we're looking for is the same number of beats on the inhalation, on the exhalation, so that your breath is an even, smooth intensity. No pauses, no interruptions, no breaks in your breath. And the rhythm of that and the rhythm of your heartbeat keep your center even while you're in this vast space that is the air element. And notice how that vastness brings clarity, it brings insight, it brings inspiration, it brings intuition, it brings a sense of possibility. All these things can be wonderfully liberating, but what is sometimes liberating to one might not feel that way to someone else. You might feel, oh, that's making you anxious, perhaps, right? All the possibility, all these choices. Um, what is it that really matters? That can often really refine things. Too many choices can be difficult after all, right? And so, what do we need there? Then we need that passion. We need to tap into that. Well, what do I desire? Do I care about? Yeah, there's a lot of things that are possible, right? But what is the thing that I want? What is the thing that I need? And that fire energy. It's a good way to tap into that, right? That intensity of desire. That what am I moving toward? What gives me direction? What gives me that forward momentum? So breath here is in through the mouth and out through the nose. Just feeling as you breathe in through your mouth, feeling that your base of your rib cage, your solar plexus, is like a bed of coals, and you're stoking it with your breath, lighting it up, bringing heat, bringing light, bringing passion, bringing inspiration, bringing truth. How do you know what's really important to you? How you feel it. You feel it. It's the only way to know. So we tap into that fire and feel how this gives you a certain kind of freedom, right? Because if that's what matters, then there's a lot of stuff that falls away. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't matter then. You know, that gives you an opportunity to really focus. How freeing is that? You can not focus on a bunch of stuff that's silly bullshit. Fantastic. Let that fall away then.
Mm.
And then you allow the energy to transform again, to become heavier, to think of what brings you down to earth, what brings you down, and what gives you that sense of flow, that sense of pliability, of adaptability, of abundance. We need that too. The flame will burn itself out. It doesn't have that connection. And what is it that we connect to? What is it that opens that quality of adaptability and flexibility and abundance and fertility, even love, right? And connection. That water gets you wet, you know? Water surrounds all things, pervades all things. What is it that you're connected to? Who is there with you in your pond, in your stream, in your river, in your ocean? Where are the flows of your heart, your feeling? Where are they flowing to? And with whom? Feel those you care for. Feel the love that connects you. Just energize it with your breath. Keep on working on making your breath deep and slow and smooth and heart centered, right? In rhythm with your heartbeat. Try to make your breath full by extending the exhalation, squeezing your abdominal muscles, breathing all the way out, and then breathing all the way in. When you get into that flow state, right, that feeling of that mighty river that's flowing toward the ocean, notice there's a freedom in that. One that maybe feels different from the other manifestations of it. And notice too how it's often when energy is moving, when energy is flowing, that it feels most free. And when it's blocked and stuck, well, that doesn't feel free, right? That feels stagnant. That feels trapped. That feels locked. It starts to feel intolerable. And so one of the points, or one of the things that the elements can do for us, right, is to attune us to the way that energy is moving, to the way it's not moving, and to allow us to shift those blockages. Maybe we need to bust through them, that's possible, or maybe we need to take a different course. Maybe we need to outlast it. Maybe we need to see things differently, right? There's a lot of different possibilities here.
Mm.
When we tune into the breath yet again and bring that feeling of that heavy solidity of the earth element, that orderliness, that boundedness. Here is where my soul begins, and here it is where it ends. Very clear. Having the strength to last. There's a freedom in that too. When you tune into the earth breath, that is the breathing into and out through your nose. That is our normal, ordinary, day to day breath for most of us. We're bringing it a new focus. We're breathing more. We're breathing slowly. We're breathing rhythmically. And we're breathing with an awareness of that sense of order, of, of peace. A peace that comes when everything is in its right place. How freeing that can be, right? Perhaps you resonate more with one of these elements than another. Perhaps you have a different experience. Maybe your experience with one of these is not altogether positive. Maybe you feel some anxiety or fear around that energy. And try to just see that all as interesting. It's all fascinating information. This is part of the inner journey. Knowing yourself means knowing what your energies are, knowing what is strong in you and what is less so. What is that balance? We all have these energies within us. And our hope is that they can be a way for you to bring about that balance and that wholeness that you seek, that we all seek. We all long to grow, we long to unfold. We want to make progress to uncover our potential. And of course, some of our suffering in life is because of that longing. How could it be otherwise? You're trying to grow and longing to grow. You're going to encounter challenges. That's simply the way of things. And things will not always go your way. That will bring pain. But everything in life is an opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow. Often grow more from your defeats than you do from your victories. Because what do the victories teach you? They teach you, yes, I'm awesome and everything happened just as I thought. Well, that's good. A win's a win, and a win should be celebrated. But that you often don't learn much from that, right? You learn when you're not quite equal to the task. All right, well, let's come out of the meditation here and return to the here and now. And
Thank you.
nice to sit with you all. I can feel the energy here that we're creating, and I appreciate it. We're doing this together. So that's why we do the class live, despite the many mistakes that we make every single class.
That was a wonderful meditation, Avatar. I could listen to that one again and again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
When
Well,
you were doing the fire breath, I thought, what?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just, when you were doing the fire breath, I thought, oh, everybody's getting fired now.
That's how we fire people. We use the fire breath. You're so
Fired up. Fired
Yeah.
up. The cheesy jokes are free.
Jokes. Made a comeback toward the end of the show.
Yeah.
Well, we're of course here every week at this time. We'd love to have you guys join us. For those of you who are watching later, I hope the vibe is still strong later on. That's what we aim for as well. If y'all would like to support the show, please visit the Patreon page. The link is in the description. If you guys are on Instagram, please give Leah Schaefer a follow, but only if you want more inspiration and joy in your life. If not, don't do it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Asatar. Have a wonderful evening or day.
We'll see you all
Have a
next
good day.
week.
Thanks.